All righty. Here's a mess. Only one string for my hoodie. The other one went all the way up. Not thrilled about that. Don't know how to pull that off. Same thing with gym shorts. If the strings go in, that's it. Done. Toast. Welcome. Good, great, grand. Let's make sure we're up and running here. Jets-Patriots tonight. Lots to get excited about. Holy crap. Is that my hair? What a mess. 1, 2, 2. All right. Lot to get to today. We're going to do a little bit on the majority on Monday Night Football, Jets-Patriots. And then I've got 2 MACtion plays because the MAC will be playing Tuesday and Wednesday. And I've got a Masters play, 1 Masters play because we're not going to go live again until Thursday at 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific, and the Masters will already be underway. So I figured I'd throw one of them out there now. Any questions anyone has, the chat is always open. We can get to any of that good stuff. So let's start with the recap from last night. Been so cold lately. So cold, decided to just fire on what I said was going to be 10 bets. Then it ended up being 12. I didn't even count properly. Not a disaster. The winners were as follows. We had the under on the game. We had a teaser with the Saints in the under. We had Alvin Kamara under 5.5 receptions, under Kamara receiving yards, under Brady passing yards, and Tom Brady would throw an interception. Those were the 6 winners. There were 5 losers. All the Antonio Brown props lost. Over in yards, we were just short, but we missed it. That he would score the first TD, that he would score a TD. Malcolm Jenkins over 5.5 tackles. He was on 5 tackles for the entire fourth quarter, didn't get another one. And then the first turnover to beat Tampa Bay. I don't mind that one, losing that. We had that capped well. Tampa sucked. And Brady had, 3 interceptions? It just so happened that Jared Cook had that fumble early in the game. That's the way the game goes. No complaints. Just saying, I feel like that one was capped properly in the sense that my Tampa had the short week. They had the chance to be really sloppy there. So 6 and 5. Now we gave out 12. I only gave you 11, 6 and 5, which puts our total to 72 and 87, 15 under. But thank God we actually won some bets. I was tired of all the 0 and 4s, 0 and 5s, 1 and 4s. The last week and a half has been brutal. So 6 and 5. We opened up a tease with the Saints last night. That half won, so we have 6 points to play with in tonight's game to close out the tease. So that's going to be part of the picks for tonight's game. We're going to get to those in just a moment. Let's go through the regular stuff as always. The weather tonight at East Rutherford. It seems like every primetime game is in East Rutherford. I have searched East Rutherford, New Jersey so many times at weatherchannel.com this year. I don't even, they probably think I'm from there or I'm moving there. Anywhere between 60 degrees, 55 degrees. Kickoff should be around 60, should drop to 55. So temperature shouldn't be a concern. 5 to 10% chance of precipitation. That's not a concern. 1 to 2 mile an hour winds, which is, don't move there. Don't worry. Don't worry about that. No North Jersey for this guy. Jersey is a beautiful state. Don't get me wrong. The Garden State, lots of wonderful beaches, beautiful people. Not against Jersey. Just a quote. 1 to 2 mile an hour winds, which it's November 9th. Still not windy at the Meadowlands. Very interesting. Nice weather for the Northeast this time of year. So we don't have to really concern ourselves as of now with the weather in tonight's game. Injuries. How much time you got? Because this is going to take a while. Let's start with the guys who are out. Running back J.J. Taylor for the Patriots. Backup, not much of a concern. Nikhil Harry, the wide receiver, out with a concussion. This dude never plays. Ever. It's his second year in the NFL, out of Arizona State. It's always something with this guy. Was that a late first-round pick or an early second-round pick? Whatever it was, the Patriots are getting nothing out of this kid. So those two are out. For the Jets, tight end Trevon Wesco, linebacker Blake Cashman, they're both out. Doubtful. Patriots have no one listed as doubtful. The Jets, Sam Darnold's listed as doubtful. They said he's not going to start. I haven't seen anything that says he's out. Flacco's starting tonight. I don't think Darnold's going to play. But, again, listed as doubtful. Wide receiver Vincent Smith, Defensive tackle Quinnen Williams, that's not very good for the Jets. Kicker Sam Ficken, groin injury. Those guys are all doubtful. Questionable. I'll start with the Jets. Remember, these designations, you'll get the official injury report about 90 minutes before kickoff tonight. So kickoff's 8:15. Sometime before 7 o'clock, you'll get the official stuff. So keep an eye on that. Jets, Jamison Crowder is questionable. Josh Andrews, the guard. Connor McGovern, the center. Defensive tackle Nate Shepard. Defensive end John Franklin Myers. Those guys are all questionable. Not too bad. For the Patriots, Damian Harris, the running back. Tight end Ryan Izzo. Tight end Dalton Keene. I'm going to skip Isaiah Wynn on the offensive line. Joe Thuney on the offensive line. Shaq Mason on the offensive line. Lawrence Guy. Shalik Calhoun. It just keeps going. Stephon Gilmore. All these dudes are questionable. So the Patriots are really banged up. If you want to make your wagers now, you can. Obviously, fantasy implications, all that other stuff. A lot of big names highlighted by Stephon Gilmore, the guys on the offensive line, and Damian Harris. All individuals you want to keep an eye on. The announcement should come about 90 minutes before kickoff. If you're questionable, it's better than being doubtful, obviously. Breaking news on that one. Line movement here. Patriots open as a 7.5-point favorite on the look-ahead line. They are now let me make sure I have this right. I've been so deep in MACtion research this morning, like a total degenerate. And they don't even play tonight. They're not till tomorrow. Lines up to 10. Westgate has 9.5, I see, but 10 just about everywhere else. The total was at 41.5. It's come up to 42.5. You might be thinking, why is anyone betting the over with the way these two teams play offense? That's a really low total, even for these teams. 41.5. That's incredible. So there you have it. That's the information. Now, any questions, you can start firing at will. I got 3 picks for tonight. The first thing we're going to do is close that tease, which is going to tie into essentially the other pick, which I'm playing the under. So I'm going to take the teaser that we opened last night with New Orleans, and I'm closing it with the under, which means we're taking it from 42.5 up to 48.5. That's bet number 1. Bet number 2 comes with it. I am going to play the under at 42.5. So here is the rationale for that. The Jets have scored more than 10 points in 3 of 8 games this season. They haven't scored more than 10 points in any of their last 4 games. And Joe Flacco's at quarterback tonight. Patriots aren't very good, but it doesn't really seem to matter what you throw at the Jets. They're not exactly going to move the ball up and down the field. Now, you have to concern yourself with big turnovers, gaffes on special teams, pick sixes, things of that nature. If you're playing props tonight, you might want to look at a defensive or special teams touchdown. I think the first touchdown being a defensive or special teams TD for the Patriots is like 22 or 24-1. Might want to consider that, considering the way these teams play. But the Jets have been abysmal on offense. The Patriots are not far behind them, believe it or not. They have scored 49 total points over their last 4 games. They're not scoring very well. They do love to run the ball. They're 3rd in the NFL in rushing attempts. So despite the fact that they've lost 5 of 6 and they're consistently trailing, they're still 3rd in rushing attempts. They can't throw for shit. So they've been running the ball like crazy, which is good. Run the ball, grind the clock, all that good stuff. In terms of pace, this is going to be something that plays into another one of the bets tonight, but I'll get to that in a second. But essentially, neither team's been scoring all that much, and that's why we are where we are with the under tonight. I'd love to give you some really great inside analytics. This is really just an eye test pick. They both stink, especially offensively. So far this season, get this. New England ranks 31st in the NFL in terms of touchdowns scored. They've only scored 15 touchdowns this year. I think Newton's only thrown 2 touchdown passes. The Jets ranked 32nd in touchdowns scored. The Jets have scored 8 touchdowns. 8. Patrick Mahomes threw for 4 touchdowns yesterday, and that's an average day at the office for Mahomes. The Jets have scored 8 total touchdowns this year. Again, I don't think either defense is all that good, but these offenses are just inept, and they lack big play capability, which is good for an under. So the first 2 picks, we're closing the open tees from yesterday. Talking about team totals, you know what? I played both team total unders last week with the Giants and the Bucks, and I lost with the Giants because they went over, but I won with the Bucks. I wouldn't fault you for playing under 26.5. Do we suddenly think the Pats are going to put up 28? They want to run the ball. I mean, maybe tonight's the night, but I don't know. Anyone who's going to play the side too, I might as well throw this out there. let's think of it like this. We're asking a team that ranks 29th in scoring. That's the Patriots. They rank 29th in scoring to go on the road on Monday Night Football, when even the worst of the worst know the entire world's watching and they want to step up and play well, i.e. what you saw last week with the Giants against the Buccaneers. 29th in scoring, going on the road on Monday Night Football, laying double digits in a game with a total lined at 42.5. That's a huge ask. Now, granted, 11-0 gets it done, but I would not lay with the Patriots. I'm not taking it with the Jets. I'm not playing the side. So there's where we are for the totals. If you're playing the team totals, I can understand you want to go under on the Patriots. 26. I mean, as bad as the Jets are, do we think the Patriots are going to run wild? Maybe. Maybe they have a big special teams play. Maybe they have a defensive play. Remember, a couple Flacco turnovers in a bad spot are going to put the Patriots in prime scoring territory. Now, whether or not they get in is up to them. But under 20, if I'm playing anything on that team total you listed, I'd go under the Patriots 26.5. We'll smash them for Bill gets off on beating the Jets. I have a conspiracy theory I've been floating that Belichick is going to tank this game and the Week 17 game against the Jets to keep Trevor Lawrence out of the division. How's that for next level thinking? Brady and Belichick ran the division for 20 years. You think Belichick wants to have to deal with Trevor Lawrence twice a season? Maybe he goes ahead and tanks both off. Trevor Lawrence goes to Jacksonville. I don't actually think that's going to happen, but I think that's an interesting talking point for ridiculous people like myself who like to talk about ridiculous things. All right, so those are two of the picks for tonight's game. Third pick is Cam Newton under 27.5 passing attempts. Not completions, under 27.5 attempts. That's a low number. He's only eclipsed that in 2 of 6 games this year. Like, that's how little Newton is throwing the football. He hasn't eclipsed it in any of his last 3. The Patriots, like I mentioned, tied for 3rd in rushing attempts per game. And here's what I wanted to get at earlier with pace. So the Patriots are 19th in pace, according to Pro Football Outsiders. That's essentially how many seconds in between the end of the play and snapping the ball. That's your pace. They rank 19th. But if they get a lead of 7 or more, they're 31st in pace. They essentially take like 36 seconds in between plays. Like, they're in no rush. And anyone who's ever watched Cam Newton going back to his time at Auburn, he is not in a rush. He gets up to the line, ready, talks to everyone, moving around. That's how he does his thing. I'm not knocking it. It's just he's slow. He's not in any sort of rush. You don't see Newton moving up tempo all that often. So the thought process here is that it's going to be a game that doesn't feature a ton of plays because everyone's going to be moving slow. And the Patriots are going to have a lead, and they're not going to throw much because they don't throw much anyway. And they're not going to be in a situation where they need to throw. So you're going to have Newton running the ball and or the rest of the team running the ball, hence the under 27.5 passing attempts. So those are the 3 bets for tonight's game. Under on the total, which is 42.5 as of right now. Closing the tease from last night where we had the Saints. We're going to close that with the under, so that'll be 48.5 because we got 6 points to play with. Cam Newton passing attempts under 27.5. So those are the 3 bets for tonight. Now, 2 MACtion bets and a Masters bet for you. Let me bring this up. Damn, the line moved so much on this. I am going to lay the 27.5 on Ohio over Akron. Let me make sure it's still there. Yeah, it's been getting bet up today. So as long as it's under 28, I'm going to play Ohio over Akron. This is tomorrow night. Akron is awful. Akron has lost 18 straight. They lost last week against, I want to say, Western Michigan, like 52-3. They got completely blown out. They lost every single game last year, and then they lost like the last 5 games the season before it. Essentially, they've lost 18 straight by an average of 24.7 points per game. They're absolutely terrible. It's like rule number 1 of MACtion, bet against Akron. And I know most people would say, well, if everyone's thinking like that, you should go the other way. Yes, I did that last year, and I ended up losing in those spots too. These guys like never show up. 9.5 Buffalo to cover the spread against Miami, Ohio. I like the over in that game. You jumped the gun on me, Abby. Smart, though. Love to see people betting MACtion. But that's MACtion play number 1. It's just a bet against Akron. I want to get it in now before it gets to 28. This thing's come flying up. What'll probably happen is there'll be shit weather tomorrow night, announced out of nowhere, and this will end 21-3. So you can see the confidence I have right now considering the cold streak. So that's number one, laying 27.5 with Akron. Number two, Abby Jackson talking about Buffalo, Miami. So Miami's the team that played Ball State last week. I had Ball State. That they blew that game in every which way, had the chance to pull it off late, completely screwed it up. That's Miami of Ohio in a nutshell. Always hanging around, in the words of Teddy KGB. Alligator blood. I don't want to mess with that. Buffalo's legit. Buffalo's got a really good defense. And last week they hung a ton of points on some doormat. I think it was Northern Illinois that they crushed. I remember back in the day, was it Jordan Lynch at quarterback for Northern Illinois when they were nasty? That was the first time I lived here in Vegas. Northern Illinois was awesome back then. Point being, I don't want to lay the 9.5 with Buffalo. It's been coming down. It was 12. So there's Miami of Ohio money showing up. But if you're not getting 10 or better, you're missing the best of it. I'm going to play the over here. It's sitting at 54.5. Let me make sure I have this right. No. Some books say 54.5. The other one says 56.5. Let's go 56.5. Let's be safe. Even though it's a better number elsewhere, I don't want to give out lousy numbers. It's the last thing I want to do to you guys. Over 56.5 for that game. Both teams can score. That's it. That's really the logic on this. Miami of Ohio was in a shootout last week with, what was it? Ball State, the game I lost. 69 points were scored in that game. Ball State was supposed to be able to play some defense, and they gave up plenty of points. Now, Buffalo's defense is better, but if that was a 69-point shootout, considering how these two offenses could play, I'm going to play over in this one as well. So over 56.5. Those are the two games for tomorrow night. There's games on Wednesday as well. I don't have anything on that right now. I want to lay the 8.5 with Ball State over Eastern Michigan, but I'm not there yet. And I kind of want to take the 2.5 with Toledo at Western Michigan. Kind of. But I'm not there yet either. So I'll probably tweet that stuff out or not on Daily Wager tomorrow. Yeah, I would just tweet it out. You can hit me up on Twitter at Joe Fortenbaugh at any time if you have questions. I try to answer as many as I can. DMs are open as well. So those are the two MACtion picks. Fading Akron, laying 27.5 with Ohio, and over 56.5 Miami, Ohio, and Buffalo. Third pick, it's a Masters pick. This is the final pick of the show. I am going to bet Bubba Watson to finish in the top 20 at minus 110. So this was a Caesars. I was on Caesars' website. Caesars is minus 110 both ways. I am playing that he gets into the top 20. Bubba's won here twice before. Everyone will tell you that. I don't think that's much of a surprise. It was a while ago. But there are two things I like about this. Number one, him winning here wasn't a fluke. Sometimes you have these guys that just get really hot on the weekend. They win a tournament. You don't really hear from them again. This course fits his eye. And I don't really know how to explain that. If you've played golf, you understand certain courses or maybe just specific holes on like your local muni that you really suck at. Like I can think about Allentown Municipal Golf Course where I've played hundreds of rounds growing up with all my friends. I've had some of the best rounds of my life there because I've played it so much. But there are certain holes that as I walk to the tee box, I know I'm going to dominate the hole. For some reason, I just play well there. The way I hit the ball, the way I play the game, I'm not that good of a golfer by any stretch. But there are certain holes where I tend to always get a favorable result. And then I can think of two holes on that damn course where I almost always have a negative result. Some of it's probably mental, but some of it is the way the hole fits my eye. I don't know if it's just the way I walk up to the tee box and position myself or what. Bubba's a lefty. The way that course fits his eye, it's just that's it. You see him in contention all the time. He's won twice there, but his last two times there, last year, tied for 12th. The year before that, tied for 5th. Top 20 is all we're asking for here. And here's the kicker to this too. Bubba's been talking about how he loves playing without galleries. He doesn't like being around people. So I never really was a fan of his, but I'm kind of like that. Very odd individual, as I'm sure you've noticed from watching this thing over the years. The point being, no galleries is obviously something that makes him comfortable on a course that where he's very comfortable and where he's played very well in the past. I just need him in the top 20 and it's minus 110. That's your Masters bet for this coming weekend. So there you have it. The recap is under 42.5 in Patriots Jets. We're closing that Saints teaser from last night with the under tonight. So we tease it up to 48.5. We play the under. Cam Newton under 27.5 passing attempts. Ohio minus 27.5 over Akron tomorrow night. Miami of Ohio and Buffalo over 56.5 total points tomorrow night. And Bubba Watson in the top 20 minus 110. I guess we'll be Thursday. We're back for Thursday Night Football. Mondays and Thursdays, it's always the same schedule, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And then on Sunday, we have the morning show at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 8:30 a.m. Pacific. We go for 45 minutes, preview the whole card. Generally, I'll pick a bunch of losers that I give out there. That's been the trend lately. And then right after the last afternoon game on Sunday goes final, we launch for Sunday Night Football, where last night I made 12 bets and somehow came out ahead. Very rare, but very fortunate. Thank you all for watching as always. Love it when you guys check me out. To the regulars who are just in here like crazy, you guys are the freaking best. I got to get some t-shirts made up and send them out to you guys. I don't know what they would say. Fade Joe, something like that. Fadenball, hashtag Fadenball, something like that. But thank you. Have a great week. Enjoy the Masters. Enjoy MACtion. Enjoy football tonight. I'll catch you Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Thanks, everybody. Got to do something about this hair. Ugh.